As sales of electric vehicles continue to accelerate, single-outlet charging stations can no longer meet demand. ChargeNode's patent-pending technology is as simple as it is ingenious. Multiple vehicles share a central charging unit, with ChargeNode's innovating charging technology making much better use of available energy. And as charging stations evolve, so too does the ecosystem that supports them. Virta integrates electric mobility, energy systems, and digital sectors into one. Or, to put it another way, Virta's digital platform is a global EV charging infrastructure that connects all the key players in the EV ecosystem. Please give a warm welcome to the CEO of ChargeNode, Christian Sandal, and the CTO of Virta, Jussi Atakari.
It's having you here. I think the audience is really charged, right? So you guys represent different parts of EV ecosystem. Can you please shortly tell our audience about what problem does your solution really solve? Let's start with you, Jussi.
When we started working at Virta in 2014, basically the world with EV charging was that they were, random standalone charging station here and there. They were not connected anywhere. As a person driving an EV wanted to charge, you never knew where to find the stations, whether they were working or not. So we wanted to build a kind of digital platform to, for one, connect all the charging stations from different companies to this digital platform so that all the EV drivers can see, find them, know whether they are working or not, free or not. And then, of course, the second thing to kind of enable making business out of EV charging. Because if you don't have connection, if you don't know who is doing what and where, it's impossible to do payments or handle any kind of money traffic. So we created a digital platform that connects thousands of different companies and hundreds of thousands of EV drivers to one big platform to use EV stations.
Sounds super exciting. And Christian, what about you?
We started a little bit later, so like 4+ years ago. And the main thing that I found out like 10+ years ago when I got my first EV car is that the available power at a facility is limited, and instead of charging a lot of cars with a little power, it's better to ask when the car is going to be used and how much you would like to charge, because then you can charge the cars sequentially in the order that are going to be used. So the end customer ends up with the more satisfying charging charging.
Yeah, understandable. And then, if I understand correctly, Christian, when it comes to your solution, it really has an ability to optimize, not how you charge even one car, but maybe 50 cars and 100 cars. Can you tell our audience and us, how does IoT help you do that?
Yes, the industry comes from, and the big players, they try to sort of lock in the customer with a RFID ID tag that is connected to your account in some way. Rather, we want you to check into the charging system and help the charging system and yourselves to tell the system, okay, how long will I be parking and how many kilowatt hours do I need? And then the system sort of could have a dialogue with you if that is possible or if it changes over time. And in that sense, we need that connectivity, all the time instead of just sending, IDs to a charging box with RFID IDs. So in that sense, we really connected all the time.
So that's a constant dialogue there in between the machines. And Jussi, you mentioned the universal payment solutions and the importance of that. Can you elaborate a little bit more about how is that one of the central parts of your solution?
Well, of course, payments in general is one thing that we want to get into eventually. But before you can start with payments, there is like a lot of other things you need to do on the background. First, you need to have connections to the charging station, like real-time communication. You need to have platforms to manage the stations, to get information about them, statistics, reports, errors. You need to be able to provide mobile apps and solutions for EV drivers so that they can find the stations and show the prices. So what we try to do is to kind of make all this really easy for our customers. So if you want to provide EV charging for your users, customers, whoever, you don't need to take care of all the complexity. You just join the platform. We handle all that in the background, and you then get easy payment solution. And of course, as a company, possibility to earn money with EV charging also.
Yeah, absolutely. And our co-moderator today, Anna, she's an anthropologist, so she's studying a little bit the changes in human behavior. And to be honest, with the current penetration of electric vehicles, we see that people have changed the way how they behave when they are charging the electric vehicles. It's not just that you tank the car and go, you need to wait a little bit, all these type of things. How do your solutions address that behavioral change?
You can look at it in the opposite of way. When you have an EV car, you don't sort of charge your car plus 90% of the time at the office or at home. So you actually reduce the number of times you need to go to a charging station with tenfold. And in that sense, you need to sort of plug in your car more often. You need to charge the car almost every second, every third day, something. And that experience then sort of makes it more difficult to identify yourself. So the best way to do this is if you just plug in your car and you don't need the app to interface the charging station. And we work quite hard with that. And the technology, sort of hardware-wise in the cable, is not really there yet, but you can do this software-wise. So I have a project where, for example, Volvo cars, car in the cloud sort of detects and sends the bill directly to the car, like Tesla done for 10 years. But in that sense, we make it easier and more convenient.
Of course. And what about your solution, you see?
We have started a lot with the kind of same principles, so it's all about making charging easy. But for us, I think it's more like making charging stations available as many locations as possible. Because as an EV driver, you basically charge where you park. So the goal is to have charging possibilities on those places where you anyway park your car. So it's not any kind of extra effort. You anyway park your car somewhere, and when you then leave that place, your battery is full.
Yeah, that's absolutely clear. Now, interesting question here is, of course, what does the future bring? In some of the countries in Europe, like Norway, we see that electric vehicles are already outselling the normal vehicles. Now, Swedish government announced that they are not going to subsidize anymore electric vehicles starting from like 2 days ago. Where do you think the future is going, and how will the industry look like maybe in 20, 30 years from now? Jussi, what do you say?
Well, I think that there are few different kind of big trends in technology. One is that everything will be connected. It's not just about cars, it's not just about charging stations, it's about traffic systems, energy production, and second is that it will be real time. So we know in real time what's happening in all the different places, like what's your car's battery status at the moment, where there are free charging stations, what's the status of energy production at the moment, where there is traffic. So we will soon see applications like, you leave work, driving home, you will get a notification that, there is now a lot of traffic on the road. How about you go and charge your vehicle? Actually, now there is a lot of solar production, so electricity is cheap, and there is a good possibility for you to shop some groceries on your way home.
That's one option. And Christian?
Yeah, and I would say this was rather expected. This from the government, they took away this subsidy, and that is because electric cars may be more expensive, but they have a shorter depreciation time, a longer depreciation time, and they have less service and maintenance and stuff. But where the industry is going, I think, is this sort of the crisis that we experience now is that the energy that you want to put into the car is so rather, important that it's not too expensive. And there are ways to do this, and we release after this year a way to reduce maybe your electricity bill with 20-30% through the charging system and stations we have. And the next step on that is, okay, you could even get paid for electricity that is in the car if you put it out to the grid again. And that technology is on the table, but it needs to be sort of facilitated by the car manufacturers, because the warranty on the batteries related to the kilometers driven rather than the kilowatt hours sort of charged in and out of the battery. But this will happen very, very soon. And then this totally whole ecosystem will change.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and we are really looking forward for that. Judy, Joanna, any questions from our digital audience, maybe?
You can count on that.
Of course.
Well, you were touching a bit about that, but looking at EVs is a really hot topic. And would it be possible for everyone to use EVs, or would that put too much pressure on the grid?
I would say that from charging vehicle point of view, which we're currently doing, vehicles sort of detract energy from the grid at right or wrong time. In a very near future, as I mentioned, it will be a facilitator to put energy into the grid. So that will sort of make the thing not worse, rather than much, much better.
Yeah, absolutely. We have been talking about the same thing. We are working a lot with different energy utilities, and everybody's saying like it would be a great benefit to the grid rather than a problem if there were more electric vehicles.
Yep.
Okay.
And this is happening now.
Yes,
Just
definitely.
cannot agree more. So it's happening now because of Jussi and Christian, who are driving this fantastic innovation. So how about we give them a round of applause?